If you are keeping up with Texas House Bill 134, here is a summary of what happened when it went to the committee yesterday. And here is a little tidbit. You're going to want to watch this because this could, if this passes, raise our taxes, which we really don't want. So here's a summary of what happened yesterday when it went in front of the committee.
But that being said, I looked at the cities that are here fighting against this bill, and Carrollton, Lewisville, Farmers Branch, and Round Rock are all above the state median household income as well. So the ones that are here fighting against it are not, to use your term, blue collar in any sense of the world. They're actually all 120, 125, and so above it. What this is, at the end of the day, maybe to use something you said, is this could be seen as a tax cut.
But why on earth controller won't make the change so result that is he's a CPA for the state that we are losing money? Doesn't make sense to me.
And if HB 134 passes, we will be examples of what not to do in Texas. We have asked over and over again why the change, and more importantly, who is asking for it, and no answer. What is frustrating is this proposed change to the state law represents a fundamental shift in the policy for no reason. Conservative estimates of the costs for businesses to implement these changes will be in the hundreds of millions of dollars annually, an expense that contributes nothing to anyone, and actually having an equivalent impact as an administrative business tax. However, this is bad for Coppell and many other communities like us that have spent years building business-to-business partnerships. Unfortunately, a 60% reduction in sales tax revenue, or $30 million to the city of Coppell, is just too big of a hit to make and not come here and stand up for Coppell's residents and our businesses.
Yes, but I mean, the reality is from cities outside of Coppell, we're paying taxes, okay, and it's not going to my city. It's going to yours. And you're making the case, well, we're helping everybody, but not really. You're helping companies move to Coppell with these abatements.
But when I shop in Southlake, the sales tax does not follow me back to Coppell, so I contribute to the Southlake economy.
Sure.
Okay.
But if you were in Southlake and you bought something from one of the companies in Coppell, it would go to Coppell too.
Ad valorem tax, sales tax, and then franchise fees are largely our sources of income. In Carrollton, we are a DART city, a DART member city. So we keep 1 penny. DART, as a transit agency, keeps 1 penny. So as I speak to my impact, I'm going to speak specifically to my penny, but it's also going to have a DART impact, and I'll speak to that as well. The impact to Carrollton, our penny, our single penny, is somewhere between $4.5 and $5 million. That means DART also has, the DART and transit agencies also have a $4.5 to $5 million impact. So as a result, this change adds, maybe it doesn't add cost to the state, but it adds cost to the businesses out there, these small and medium-sized businesses, which are really the energy and the power behind the Texas economy. And instead, perhaps launch a study bill to assess the true impact. We don't know the impact. The comptroller's office gets up here, they don't know the numbers. Nobody knows the numbers. The numbers can probably be figured out. We figured it out in Carrollton, Coppell's figured it out, but we don't know what the true impact will be to the region. And I believe that it's just something that we should all take a pause, understand the true impact before we go off and implement such a change that could be detrimental to the local economy. And that $5 million, that's very meaningful to Carrollton, represents about 10% of our budget. We're hearing discussions right now on DART and the need for Transit 2.0. One of the drivers of that is urban sprawl that's happening. As urban sprawl happens, we know that our population in the DFW area will go from 8 to about 15 million people within the next 25 years. Shifting some of the sales tax dollars out of Carrollton, and if we take the DART component of that, it's 62% of the population lives outside of a transit agency city, which means that 62% of this sales tax redistribution will go to communities outside of a transit agency, and we will face air quality issues and federal funding issues from the federal government relative to dollars that we have today.
I'm wondering why, if this is kind of based on the numbers here, on every which way you explained, no losing money for our states, it doesn't make sense that the controller is a CPA for our, well, is an accountant for our state. Why on earth he wants to push something that's going to make our state revenue lose? Anyway, you explain. It doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you so much. I'm Patrick Kelly, representing the Lewisville City Council, Place 6. It's in that capacity which I respectfully testify against House Bill 134, which is the foundation upon which Lewisville and other cities have built sound and responsible fiscal programs. Our cities have traded green space for semis, diesel, and tilt wall as part of our strategic investments to provide affordable housing and living for our residents. HB 134 will unilaterally and unfairly change the rules rules after the fact. And I do want to divert just quickly here for a moment. There's been some discussion about 380 rules. That's a tool that's not unique to any of the cities presenting. Any city in Texas can take advantage of the same rules. However, it is important for you to realize that Lewisville does not have any 380 agreements. Like many cities, police and fire constitute the majority of our budgets, making up some 60% of our annual spending. Forcing cities into a classic would you rather dilemma of raising property taxes or divesting in public safety, or both, which may not even be able to do because of the constraints that we have on raising property taxes and sales property taxes in the cities now. In other words, House Bill 134 requires Lewisville to raise property taxes if we can even raise them enough to offset that loss. A change to destination sourcing will force thousands of small businesses to file potentially hundreds of forms monthly. And I do acknowledge the fact that there was a mention earlier that what constitutes a small business by this bill is under consideration, so I appreciate that fact. I urge you to postpone the consideration of this bill so the Comptroller's Office can conduct a comprehensive economic study on its projected impacts on cities and businesses. Before upending 65 years of tax policy in the state, we should have a better understanding of the substantial impacts to our economy that this bill would cause. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for carefully deliberating on the issue, and thank you for your service to Texas.
Mayor Lynn, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, committee, thank you for having me. My name's Terry Lynn. I'm the mayor of the City of Farmers Branch. I've been the mayor for the past 2 years. I was on city council for 6 years prior to that. I know some of what you hear today may be a little bit redundant, but my constituents sent me here today to deliver a loud and clear message to you. Plain and simple, House Bill 134 poses a significant financial risk to our city. Now, I don't imagine any of y'all want to come to Farmers Branch and explain to my residents why we had to close their senior center or library. If passed, this change could lead to millions of dollars in lost revenue each year, funds that support public safety, which includes police and fire, city infrastructure, parks, and other essential city services. In addition, this bill would cause a loss of sales tax revenue estimated to be at least $5 million, which would almost certainly require the city to raise property taxes, something that the legislature has been trying to lower, or force us to make severe budget and service cuts. Think about the implications losing sales tax revenue will have on DART being able to create a viable transportation network for the next 42 years. I'm guessing that you haven't. Let me conclude by saying this is a bad bill. The idea is flawed and has not been well thought out. The system is not broken. Did any of you have meetings with mayors or city managers to gauge their thoughts on this? I don't think so. I'm asking you to let this bill die a quick death. I can assure you that my constituents and those around the state who are represented here today by so many locally elected officials don't want HB 134 passed. Thank you.
It's just that when our revenue estimating people looked at what this would do, they came to the conclusion that there in some instances, there would be a decrease in local revenue for the reasons that I've tried to explain.
Well, I understand you're doing your job and you just based on the input, so you do your estimation. What I'm saying is it just does not make common sense. I hope some of my colleagues understand my plain English. Okay, thank you very much.
Collecting the exact same amount of sales tax from the exact same number of customers, and we're just sending them to more cities than we are currently. Why in the world how in the world did you come up with a number like this? I'm very, very concerned about that.
Well, first of all, let me just, for the record, state I am not with the Revenue Estimating Department, but I've talked to them, and I think I understand what they have done.
Okay.
And so one thing to initially point out is that their actual estimate is that they don't know what the number is, okay? But they think there will be a loss, but they don't know how big of a loss.
So you're telling me that this is a guess?
I guess I had a question regarding the comptroller's administrative fee. Is it known, how much does the comptroller generate from the local portion of the sales tax annually?
Is it known?
Yeah, well, how much is that?
I can tell you that That doesn't seem right to me. The answer is, I don't know. That information is obviously available, but I don't know.
Maybe I don't read fiscal notes as carefully as I need to, but I'm not familiar with instances where an agency would evaluate a bill and say the costs are unknown, but if you want a number, here's a number, right? I mean, so that's what it sounds like.
Well, Your Honor, I say Your Honor, I'm used to testifying in court. I have actually looked at that question. There are a number of instances where it has been determined that the amount could not be determined with certainty. This is not unique.
It doesn't make sense to me. As Chairman Meyer mentioned, this has been going on for several sessions, and they're told the controller is very much behind this change, this effort.
Well, let me just say that I'm here as a resource person. I'm here representing the Office of the Comptroller of Public Accounts. And so whatever the Comptroller wants to do is not really why I'm here to testify about. I'm here to testify about what our agency, in all honesty, thinks that this bill would do. And so I'm not here advocating for the adoption or the rejection of this bill.